Hey, hello guys, welcome to this video. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to build a login system using Node.js. So as we all know, login plays a major role in any application, any web application, and also in mobile applications. Okay, so it is very important in the field of web development because if you take any web applications, login functionality plays the key role in authenticating the users. So as a developer, you should be aware of how to build the login system and authenticate the users so that the application becomes super secured and it does not allow the unauthorized users entering into any application. So guys, I'm going to build the backend with the help of Node.js to validate the user's mobile password. I'm passing two parameters. One is mobile and the other one is password. So if you take the database, I have two users, right? So the user with the mobile number of this, right, and another user with the mobile number of this. Okay, so when user enters mobile and password in the login page and tries to enter into the application, we have to have a backend that validates the user's input and check whether the user's information is already exists in the application. Also, the user is not entering details wrongly. I mean, the user enters wrong password and tries to enter into the system. The application should tell the user that the password did not match or the credentials is false, something like that. So I'm going to build a API for this in the auth.js controllers. So if you're seeing my video for the first time, you would not understand why do I write the login functionality in the controllers folder. But if you look into my previous videos, you would definitely understand why do we have a separate controllers folder and a controller file called auth.js for handling the authentication of the users, right? So I'm going to say exports.login equal to, this is going to be an asynchronous function and async handler to handle the errors, right? Request response next, and it is going to get two parameters. One is mobile and the other one is password from the request.body. Okay, mobile and password. So whenever I pass this data to mobile and password to this password field and click on send, the backend must be able to get that input. And so whenever I pass this mobile number and password to this mobile and password and click on send, our backend must be able to capture this input from the user. So to catch the input from the user, we use request.body, which holds the input that is sent through this API. Perfect, right? So I'm catching the input that is passed to the backend API, and I'm going to check whether the mobile and password has some values in it, right? Not mobile and password. I'm going to return error to the user like this. Next, new error response of, I'm going to say, please enter mobile and password. The status is going to be 400. Okay, So, and next condition is going to be, I'm going to check whether this mobile number exists in the database. So I have two records. If this mobile number does not exist in the database, right, I should use some message that tells the user to enter the correct mobile number. So to write it, I'm going to say const user is equal to await. So it is going to be an asynchronous function. Users dot find one, and I'm going to check whether the mobile that is passed to the API already exists in the database or not. If the user does not exist, I'm going to tell the user that the mobile number does not exist in the database. So return, you're going to send the error message to the user, right? So I'm going to say mobile number does not exist, right? Perfect. And the next thing is I'm going to compare the password that is entered by the user with the password being stored in the database, right? So if you see this data, the password is being hashed with the help of bcrypt.js. So what we have to do is we have to take this password, compare it with the hashed password that is stored with the database, and find whether the user is entering the correct password or not. And if the user does not enter the right password, we have to send some message to the user that the password is not correct. So to validate it, I'm going to write a function in userprofile.js model, right? So I'm going to write a methods that is going to be user schema dot methods dot compare password is equal to, this is going to be a async function from password. Okay, so I'm going to compare the database password with the password that is passed with the API. bcrypt dot compare the password that is sent through the API by the user, and I'm going to compare it with the password that is already been stored in the database, right? So we have returned this method, and I'm going to call this method from the controllers function. So how am I going to call it? Is I'm going to check const is match is equal to await user dot. So this user is an instance of this user's model that has already been imported to this controllers function. So if you see this function, this been imported as users, and the instance that is created for this model is used to call the methods that we have returned in the user profile model, right? So compare password is equal, and this is going to have the password that is sent through the API. Sorry guys, it's a typo. And I'm going to check whether if not is match, return next of new, here response password did not match, right? It means if the password entered by the user did not match with the database password, then we are going to send this message, right? So once the password and the mobile number is true, I mean was validated correctly, you're going to create a token, right? the help of JWT. So I'm going to call that get JWT token function from the user profiles model, right? So I've returned a method called get JWT token in the user profile model, and I'm going to call it from here. And once the token is created, I'm going to send that token as a response to the user. Status, sorry, it is going to be 200 for success.json. It is going to have success true. Message is going to be user registered successfully. User is registered successfully, and the token is going to be the token, right? So if the mobile or the password does not have data, it is going to return from here with this error message. If the mobile does not exist in the database, it is going to return from here with this error message. And if the password does not match, it is going to be returned from this place with this error message. So once all these three scenarios is passed, right, it is going to create a token and send this response as a JSON response to the user, right? So I've saved it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this from a routes, to call this from the routes. So I'm going to add that login function to this routes, and I'm going to say router.post. So whenever I get a request like this with the login API, so I'm going to route that to this controller function. So I'll save this, right? So guys, watch it closely. I'm going to test this API and show you whether it is working or not, right? So I will just refresh this page once, and I'll save all the files here so that all the changes are saved to the server, right? So the first thing is I'm going to send the empty data, right? So when I click on send, so the request is being passed to the server, and it says success false, error, please enter mobile and password, right? So that is what we have returned in the controllers function. So in the mobile or the password is empty, we will return back those error message to the user. So now when I enter some mobile number, right, so and click on send, again it says the same message because the password is empty, right? So I'm going to enter some password, click on send now. Mobile number does not exist, so this place, it came to this place and it is returned back this message to the user. So this time I enter the right password, right mobile number, and click on send. It says password did not match because the password that we sent to the API is wrong, right? So it returned back this error message from this place, right? So this time I'm going to enter the right password. Let's check what it does, right? So when I click on send now, see the token is being created and the response is sent to the user like this with success true, user is registered successfully, and the token is sent with the token header, right? So when I copy this token and go to jwt.io, so when I paste the token here, you will see the token will have the payload of ID and name that we created the JWT token method, right? So we are sending ID, the current item ID, and the name is the current username, right? So that is sent as payload, and issued at is the current timestamp the token is created, and expiry is 30 days that we set as expire in the Node.js application. So I'll show you that. So when I go here in the .env, we have set JWT expire is 30 days, and the place here, the key expires in have that 30 days variable as data, right? Hey, sorry guys, there is a small mistake with this message. Okay, so we are not registering the user here. We have to send user logged in successfully, right? So I'll save this. So when I click it again, we'll get user logged in successfully. So guys, I think this video would have helped you in understanding on how to build a login system in the backend with the help of Node.js. So if you have any issues in implementing it, write it as a comment. So I'll see you the next video, guys. Thank you for your support. Keep supporting me. Bye.